Late Night Grin. Also, what does that name mean?
Folks, we're back in our usual time slot. There is another thunderstorm here in Romford. The World Cup is on. There is a major weekend ahead of us. It doesn't really feel like it to me, especially because I'm taking it off, but there's 4 major shows this weekend. Now I know the definition major? of major. Okay, yeah. Okay. Night of
Hawkins
Champions.
and Ryder running 4 shows?
Maybe. Night of Champions, I think, qualifies.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Whether it's a good lineup or it's a major show. Not double on, Vindor qualifies. Right, now we're going to get a little in the weeds, but bear with me, Alex, okay? NXT, the Great American Bash.
Oh, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Television special. And your favorite, TNA Slammiversary.
That's this weekend?
Yes. Sunday afternoon, to be exact, yeah.
Bearing the lead, sir. There's some GCW show tomorrow night that's headlined by fucking Atticus Cougar against Hook.
There is?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that being treated as like a government threat of some sort? Or what's the approach to that over there?
My tweet when they announced that match was, "Guard, let me out, I'll talk."
Yeah, well, tremendous. Either way, it's a big weekend ahead. And on Sunday, the 5th, I can't believe that, 5th Owen Hart tournament will conclude. Wow. Yes, I know that's unsettling, isn't it? That's like jarring, but that's where we're at. 2026 here. The 5th will be concluding, and so we thought it would be nice on tonight's show to celebrate and discuss the career of Owen Hart. We have kind of a few different ways we're going to be doing that throughout the night, and we have a lot to talk about, but I thought it would make sense to get together the Grin Grappler crew for this occasion, I should say. Bobby, you are here, and it has to say this is a slightly sentimental one in terms of your setting. Fair to say, Bob?
It is, yeah. This is my last show in this studio, so no more ceiling fan, none of that good stuff. It's the end of an era, an actual era. It was 6 years. It's not like a new era every 3 months, like some people like to say. Yeah, it's sad. I was talking about it with Joe a little bit. Like, we weren't even doing the Fightful stuff together when I first moved in here, and now look at this. We're coming up on 5 years of the Grin, and yeah. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. Physically, I am. I'm still going to be doing shows and stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
the ceiling
memories along.
Yeah.
We should have really done a comp of the ceiling fan, shouldn't we? Just a
needed a
montage. Just...
The moments where his feed would cut out and he would be delayed, and we'd be like, "Bobby, you there?" And you just hear, "God damn, fuck!" Like,
you can only imagine the Wi-Fi connection awaiting Bob. You just know it's going to somehow be worse. You just can feel it, right? It's just that much is inevitable. We'll let it play out. Glad you're here, Bobby. The Oracle of Wrestling, how are you?
Well, I had 2 teams I was rooting for in the Cup this year. One, the United States. 2, Norway, where my ancestors are from. And the U.S. decided to, they had some card issues last night, and they went out in there and they had this game. And this humiliated nation of Turkey, ha! What a stupid thing to say. Turkey. That's how us Yanks say it. And we went out there and absolutely humiliated ourselves and had the worst backup defense I've ever seen. And then, on my second team I'm rooting for, proceeded to bench top player in the world, not play him for a minute against arguably the top team in the world in France. And then they had that kid, Dembele, out there dribbling in the fucking box, picking his own shots like he's doing upper 90 practice.
Wow.
Norway's defense, dreadful. So things aren't going great for me. in the football or soccer world, if you will. But
Right.
that's okay. Both teams have still advanced, but I have concerns.
I was quite concerned before we went live, Bob. You were here for this. The Oracle of Wrestling, he was talking about England, Bob, and he said he intended to say, "I know I've been fucking with you." And he actually said, "I know I've been fucking you," and I thought, Jesus, I know I've been out of it lately, but that was a surprise to me.
Crazy.
Amazing how things can escalate around here, but nonetheless, Alex, how are you?
Good. Well, not fucking anybody right now at the moment.
No.
But
You upset about the World Cup by any chance?
fucking from a greedy American pig capitalistic point of view, aesthetically, like from like a fucking enjoyment perspective, this World Cup has been more than North America could have hoped for in terms of like big highlights and moments and shit like that. And yeah, I don't know, fucking white boy over here, Oracle, talking about that game last night. Like, look, we're already in the next round. It was a hell of a game, and I don't know how many times I've ever seen that in soccer, where it like literally on the last play of the game, it's a scoring goal. Like that was nuts, dude. So to Sylvester Turkey, I tip my hat.
Fucking nutmegged. Christian Pulisic gets nutmegged on his own home field on a fucking throw-in.
Dude, who was the dude that got fucking Hans Molman with the ball right in the nuts, dude? That guy fucking just ate it.
Yeah, that was who the fuck was that? That was the guy that got his first minutes. Fuck, I can't think of his name.
Well, since we are on a wrestling platform, I think I should just say, from America's point of view, being in SoFi Stadium, we've learned that is not where you finish the story.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Excellent point.
Instead, you go on an endless loop with Sami Zayn and Gunther for 3 months.
Well, I was about to say, too, from a Bengals perspective, that's not where you finish the story. You go on years of heartbreak, and eventually Joe Burrow will win his world championship. But, Joe, back to you, my friend. We're here to talk about the King of Hearts, the Black Heart, the sole survivor, goddammit.
It's a casual affair, right? We're just talking, we're hanging out here.
By the way, before I forget it, like,
yeah,
I just recently was watching something. Some old Raw from '98 when Owen was in the Nation. I forgot how fucking sick his Nation theme was, because the Nation, everyone had like the same theme, but Owens had like the sound drop before was, well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
That's awesome,
dude. It's so sick, man. Yeah,
you sound like you did a little bit of Bob Holly there, though. Just a little.
Bob Holly is how do you like me now?
I think we were watching something the other day, and Bob Holly's tight, and Shawn just read hard, and it just says hard.
He was a hard man.
Yeah, no question. So I should know also. Is this our last Grin for a bit at this slot? Because isn't SmackDown no longer 3 hours after tonight's program? I think this is it.
Heartbreaker for Oracle.
It has to be said, it's an incredible end to the SmackDown 3-hour era for a show to be taped on Tuesday or to have leaked on Tuesday night. And just most people to have reacted to it already by the time it aired. It feels like a fitting note for it to have really gone out on. So
was that shit attended show in the O2 the one that aired tonight?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
and we have a thing that it happened to AEW a couple of years ago. They did a show in Cardiff, and I guess like the satellite people just can get this stuff now. Like the whole show was out, like the promos, the backstage spots, all of it was out. And so yeah, it's a pretty
cloud, brother.
Yeah, it's a fitting note to end that era. And so I guess we'll all be going to bed a little earlier for the next few months. I believe thanks to Braun Strowman's eating show. Maybe.
Okay. Have y'all watched that?
No, but I'm not surprised he's doing well with it because he's a very likable chap in that setting. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I watched like 3 episodes back to back to back and was like,
wow.
Well, because one, I'm a fatty, so I'm a sucker for those shows that talk about food and whatnot. And then by the time I got to the third one, it was in Austin. I was like, all right, see what he's talking about. But like, it's so good. Of like, he's such a good host, and he has this whole like catchphrase down where he looks at the menu. He's like, "I'll take everything on the menu." That's like it's so. But also as a completely fucked WWF person, like good for him for like parlaying that success into something beyond. And who knows how long it'll last, but ride it out, man. Yeah.
He's got an absolute sweet spot. We should discuss this, where he's Braun Strowman, which is their thing. He has WWE guests, and he's able to just bury the company whenever he wants. So he buried Triple H this week.
Good.
He's kind of nailed it, right? I mean, that's pretty awesome. Like,
he's got the dream. Yeah, he had Mark Henry on the Austin one. They were eating at one of the Mexican places here, and he said, "All right, we got the dos moles here, which means it's 2 moles."
Excellent stuff. Okay, we have a couple things I want to handle in the chat. Hyder sent a super chat and said, "All hail, fellas. All hail, bro. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good Friday night. Fired up for the week ahead. We hope everyone is the same. Thank you, Hyder. Please do like the stream, folks, as you file on in. Matt has been a member for 10 months and says, can't stay as I have to wake at 5 a.m. for work. Wanted to say that Owen has 3 more Slam Awards than Alex Shelley. John Burr was right." Any comment on this, Alex?
Just that Owen Hart versus Alex Shelley would have been a hell of a Ring of Honor pure title match.
What's the best version of that? Do we go young whippersnapper for both, or do we mix and match with a vet version? What do we do?
Well, I would do heel. I would do cast Owen against Shelley with Nana in his corner.
Strong. Very, very strong. Thank you, Matt. Hope you've enjoyed your 10 months as a member. Don't have an at 16 months. What are your favorite Owen Hart rib stories? Shall we circle back to this one? What do you think? Or would you like to go? Would you like to head in that direction now, Alex? I know you had a couple in your back pocket.
Yeah, there's so many, but yeah, I mean, we can definitely come back to it. But it's on Twitter. People responded to my thing but there's when they were promoting a Singaporean show, Davey got too close to Owen and he just like ad-libbed a slap to the face, and they're both trying not to break character. We'll circle back to that because there's a Gangrel one that I love so much. So yeah, we can talk about that kind of reminiscence.
So thank you, Dan. So the way we're going to do this tonight is going to be a little bit different to the usual list programs. This is going to be a bit of a hybrid show between the Grin Grappler and the Greatest Hits shows. And the reason for that is we have avoided doing Grin Grappler Owen Hart. And the main reason is we generally do Grin Grappler in a chronological fashion, right? We go from the start of the story to the end of the story. And I don't know if that was a format any of us were rushing to, use for Owen Hart, because I just think it's just, what is there left to say about the circumstances of Owen's death that aren't utterly, infuriating, right? Let alone distressing and saddening. So, with that in mind, I kind of thought this would be a nice middle ground. We're going to talk more broadly than we would on most of the list shows. We're going to talk about personal favorite things and experiences. And then we're going to work towards something that I have very informally titled the Owen 8, which is going to be the 8 matches that got the most votes across our ballots that we collected. And the reason I came to this conclusion was when I looked at the matches, I felt like they captured as well as we could, a pretty broad, encapsulation of the career of Owen Hart inside the ropes. Our goal ultimately is just to talk about Owen Hart for a little bit, have some fun, and discuss some great pro wrestling. So hopefully you guys are fired up for that. Now, I do want to note, and God, on this show, in fear of being too somber on a show that could head in that direction organically, I do think it's only right as a wrestling stream, wrestling podcast, whatever the fuck it is we're doing at this point, to mention Joe Doering, who passed away earlier today. And that was a... that's a strange one for me personally, because I remember vividly becoming a New Japan fanatic and hearing of Joe Doering as this sort of this tribute, this outlier, this sort of throwback to, in a time where Japanese wrestling was, the whole conversation was about it kind of being a stylistic evolution and borrowing from this and borrowing from that and leaning a different direction. Joe Doering was like a return to, 30 years prior, right? As the All Japan Gaijin and straight ahead, direct, Gaijin, outside force, a Stan Hansen tribute act. And I say that lovingly, but that was what they wanted from him. They wanted Stan Hansen, basically, right? And I got to cover pretty much his entire Impact run earlier this decade when I was over on Fightful. I was reviewing those shows, and he had some pretty highlight moments there, especially considering the circumstances of his story. So I just wanted to acknowledge that, wanted to note that. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to share in regards to Joe Doering, but I didn't want us to just completely miss the chance to speak on it because he had a very interesting career that I think most people are very unaware of because it wasn't a time of business boom for All Japan, right? So
come on, motherfucker, show me power. Like that was such like a viral clip at the time, but like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to be able to recite his All Japan run page and verse, but I remember for that period of time, which would have been what, early 2010s when he
mid 2010s,
yeah. Like I remember that being the first time I heard about people talking about All Japan in any concentrated fashion, because All Japan, you know, for the heights that it went to some pretty intense lows as well. And Joe Doering, I remember, was treated like this breath of fresh air. And I remember when I saw him for the first time, I can't remember which match it would have been, but also just due to his unfortunate situation, I think he was a fucking big motherfucker, man.
Yes.
He was a big fucking stout hoss. And, you know, brought a little bit of attention to that promotion when they desperately needed it. And, I remember following his story, and when he came to TNA, was it TNA? It was still Impact at that point, right?
Impact, yes.
Yeah. But I remember watching his segments and matches there just because of kind of some of the held over, I guess, excitement about him in general. But it's a cruel business in the sense of it seems like the good ones end up in situations similar to that. And look, his story's unfortunately not unlike any other walk of life, but at the same time, man, he's only 5 years older than I am, man. Like it's just it's a tragic
Terrible
thing.
shame.
So yeah, damn shame. R.I.P.
Yes.
Big man.
Absolutely. I always thought it was fascinating that his time atop All Japan was, you know, alongside that kind of global explosion for New Japan. You know, while Bullet Club and all those elements kind of dominated the scene and got what I wish we could have done a better job of, you know, appreciating what's happening on the other side, because it's still pro wrestling at the end of the day, right? No matter whether there's 1,000 people at Korakuen or 40 at Tokyo Dome, the bell's got a ring and guys are going to throw some lariats. So, watching Joe Doering this weekend, I wanted to acknowledge that. All right, let's talk about Owen Hart. I do think it's very cool. You know, we can talk all day long about the nuts and bolts of what the Owen is as a tournament, right? And the good and the bad and the best and worst matches. But I do think it's pretty neat that at this point, it is just a normalized thing that every year there's like a block of AEW's year that's just dedicated to Owen Hart's memory. Yeah, it's pretty neat, right? Like it's saying, I think when it was announced was a really big deal, and I think it's over time it feels kind of just like part of the fabric, part of the furniture. I think it's very cool. That's still a thing, and it seems like it's going to be a thing for the longest. So fitting we do this before another weekend of finals. Before we get into our Owen 8, I want to just talk more broadly and big picture. Bob, to go a little Grin Grappler on this program, map out your Owen Hart fandom for me, mate. When would you say you started watching more of his stuff, so on and so forth?
Yeah, I think it really started since I did the 1993 thing where I'm, you know, starting with Raw from the start and going all through the 90s, because he's all over, you know, 93, 94, obviously we'll talk about quite a bit. 95, he's a big player. And yeah, so it really wasn't until a couple of years ago that I got really, like, started watching him closely. You know, I'd seen some of the big stuff, but, like, it kind of goes without saying to an extent, but he had such, like, a short run, too, where it's kind of crazy. Like, and he was never on top of, like, you know, the big Attitude Era pay-per-views, but he always had, like, solid undercard stuff and that I had seen. And, yeah, the TV stuff's also really good, and just great tag stuff, too, either with Bret or Yoko or Bulldog or whoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is interesting that, you know, I think, how long would you say he's, like, a featured upper card WWF card? Maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe, would we say? 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, like, all of 94, obviously.
And then, like, most of the Camp Cornette stuff, right, you'd say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess you'd say 3 or 4 years. Yeah, somewhere in that range. It is interesting. The Oracle of Wrestling. How about yourself, sir?
Let's see. I probably first introduced Owen when I was renting old WWF pay-per-views from the 90s at Blockbuster, which probably would have been 2000, 2002 or so. I remember I rented. Let me think about this. Rumble 95. I don't know if he was on the show, but I know I rented Rumble 95, WrestleMania 11, the first In Your House, King of the Ring 98, Breakdown 98, Backlash 99. So like I saw several pay-per-views with Owen on it from the mid and late 90s just from renting pay-per-views. Some of them I would rent multiple times. Like I know I got he was also on SummerSlam 98, which I got probably 3 or 4 times when I was a kid. Loved that show, and I would rent it from Blockbuster.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, that alone was my first introduction, and then probably just through DVDs, and then of course the wondrous Smart's Choice polls, the WWF version of 2008. I think that's where I first watched the, which almost made my list, the awesome Yoko and Owen versus Razor and Savio tag, which I suspect didn't make the 8, although I could be wrong.
It did not.
But I wanted to give that match a shout, so that match is awesome. They have like a fuck finish where like Razor and Savio win, but they like reverse the decision. It's something crazy like that. But I think that's the best Joe and Yoko tag. It's from like the summer of '95.
I agree.
Yeah, just became a big fan. I always liked Owen's character work. As like a smug, like kind of whining heel. As mentioned before, all-time great theme music. His original theme, when he went on his own in '94, is probably everybody's favorite. I actually like the one late '97, early '98, before it gets to be more of a caricature. I actually really like that version too. Which
one? I'm sorry.
So I like the one that he debuts after SummerSlam '97, but before it gets to be like enough is enough and it's time for a change. Before it gets to be like ridiculous.
Are you talking about the? Okay.
Yeah. I love that one. And then once he joins the Nation after they turn him heel again, it gets to be a bit silly, but with all the voiceovers or whatever. But
I tried to be a nice guy.
I tried to be a nice guy.
All right. Tremendous. Detailed in a range of ways, that was. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alex, map it out for me. Your Owen Hart fandom, as with respect, the resident veteran of the crew.
Thank you, brother. Well, now we got to go back because also he had that theme song. Also, at one point, it would just start go, and then there was another time where it had the siren that played.
Cesaro.
Yeah. No, Owen had a fucking plethora of banger entrance themes. But yeah, I don't think any of them topped the that was the best.
Yeah, that was beast.
I mean, I watched Owen's the whole run pretty much in the WWF. It was until years later I realized he had that very brief and all but forgotten WCW run where
91, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember High Energy. I remember Survivor Series '92. They wrestle the Head Shrinkers, I want to say, like on that show, Coco and Owen do. I might be off base, but I remember my first exposure to Owen was the fucking MC Hammer parachute pants with Coco Beware was the first time I would have seen him, and then him just kind of being a guy until Rumble '94 when he kicked Bret's leg out of his leg. That was a big one.
Sorry, Alex. I'm reminded of Heenan. Was it Rumble '93 where when Coco came out? Heenan goes,
"Someone call a cab." Someone call a cab.
Someone call a cab.
Dude, the Rumble '93 match fucking rules. Like that, and Heenan is no small part of that. But yeah, I think there's a part where I think it's like Jerry Sags, one of the Nasty Boys, hits the ring, and Heenan just goes, "Oh, great." So, and then when he turned on Bret, I remember that. And then, I mean, the compliment to Owen is, I remember as a child, you know, well up until I guess I was 11 or 12 in '99, like, I hated him. He was just like, he got away with so much fucking skullduggery and just shenanigans, and I like just hated him. He drove me crazy. And I remember when he like kind of really buying his change as a like, you know, a young guy or a kid watching TV, when he kind of grew the 5 o'clock shadow out, and then he lined himself with Jeff Jarrett, had the new ring gear and all that shit. But he's someone in the years since, like, there was that very understandingly so follow-up period where it was just kind of like everything about him was glorified, and rightfully so, by the way, because he seems like he was a really decent man, and he was funny and stuff. But like, you know, since that whole kind of glow has maybe faded a little bit in recent years, I've gone back and watched some of his work and have found so many, like, he was so funny, like the things he would do in the ring of, you know, finding an opportunity. He would just like come in and break up a pin and then throw his arms up in the air. Like that type of shit is, and he's also, I guess I'll lead with my thesis of, who have we done on the grappler of, Terry Gordy was one, Rick Martel, in an age of, you know, where everyone's so desperate to say people are underrated. I still don't think people really appreciate how fucking good of a worker Owen Hart was. Like, I think, you know, at a high level they do, but like the little things he was so good at. And I think that's probably something we're going to circle back to here, but he was someone I've like literally watched like my entire life from different vantage points of like understanding what I'm watching. And yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah. I think, you know, you hesitated when you said it, but I do think it's a necessary thing to tackle at the start of this program, which is, it is very difficult to divorce Owen's body of work from the circumstances of his death, right? I mean, I think it is, and I think unfortunately, for now, the last 27 years, his name is attached to that, right? And it's very difficult, I think, to then just like reset and look at it as, okay, it's this match, that match, and it's like, it's a strange thing for people. Yeah. Owen was, I mean, I'm sorry if I'm misspeaking, but he was 34, 35 when he died.
He was a young man.
If he was a 34-year-old in the main roster today would legitimately feel like a rookie. It actually happens. In fact. Yeah. Like, now, obviously, he was a veteran within the industry, but he still wasn't like, by modern standards especially, wasn't like 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had still a long time ahead of him. And I know that there's a conversation that we're not qualified to have about like how much he actually wanted to be in pro wrestling beyond that point, right? And like, you know, if there's any justice, would have seen him to live that out. But what I'm saying is like, just by age, he had many, many years as an active pro ahead of him. So it's very hard, I think, for people to kind of weigh those things up. One thing that always stands out to me about Owen is, I don't know if there's a bigger guy, a better example of a guy that had such supreme character work to such a degree that it actually was able to pull the wool over our eyes sometimes as to him as a promo. Do you know what I mean? Like, in the sense that I don't actually know how good of a promo Owen Hart was, but I've regularly suggested he was a good one because of how entertaining he was as a personality, like just physically funny. And I was trying to think who else really think about it. Like, Owen's promos, he would often like stumble, right? And like famously, you just mentioned leg out of his leg. But you never think of him as because he had so much personality in his work.
When we did the WrestleMania 13 Grin Along, I remember calling that out. On the way to the ring, Jim Ross comes up. It's like, there's been some dissension between the two of y'all, who the leader of the team is. And Owen's kind of like you said, he's not necessarily stumbling, but he's just kind of like, yeah, well, you know, it's me. And then he goes to leave, and Owen like grabs him and goes, I'm the leader. Quit causing problems. Get out of here. And just shoves him out of the way. Like, I agree. He was such a smartass that some of like his biting remarks and whatnot would kind of override the perceived. He wasn't Sid in the sense of where he just looked like a buffoon. Like he just looked like a kind of a dickhead jock in most circumstances. Yeah,
and it's it's a kind of it's an interesting topic after all the recent GW. Apologies, folks, if some thunder and lightning audio bleeds into my conversation here, but there was all the GWE talk recently and about like how you weigh in character work and all that good stuff, and like if someone's a good character or not good. To me, it's like if you're an elite pro wrestler, the character is evident in your work, right? Like your personality is part of what makes. Like The Rock had a very particular way of throwing punches and moving, didn't he? That was why he was The Rock. In his own way, Owen found a groove of a pro wrestler that wrestled exactly as you would hope a whiny little brother would wrestle. Like he was an amazing athlete and he was technically refined, but he also was kind of petulant and bratty and like it was all there in his work. Like to me, that's so much more impressive than just kind of having two separate pieces. Like it was one thing, and I think that's something that really stands out in the Bret stuff in particular is they both felt truly like they were embodying those roles, right? Like what made Owen a credible bad guy in that program is he consistently showed the talent that he could be better than his older brother, which made it believable, right? Like I get why he's jealous because he's damn good, but why does he have to be such an arse about it? It's just so money to me. But yeah, I've always loved that. It is interesting kind of looking through perception and reputation. Oracle, fair to say, and we don't need to get too much into this because people are more than entitled to their opinions, but fair to say that there is some debate about Owen's work, right, among modern onlookers, right? Fair to say?
Yeah. There are people that I think with all that happened have kind of reevaluated his work and don't really think of him as highly in the ring as previously thought of. And I can see some of the criticism. But honestly, we've talked about it a lot already, but I feel like his character work and just the stuff you described about how he was able to really put in that sort of little brother character, I think was brilliant and was honestly the highlight of his abilities as a worker. Some of the criticisms are kind of like one that I have read several times, and I don't even think they're that these criticisms or that these points are necessarily wrong. I just don't know if I see it as a criticism, is that he does these, he's very Irish whippy. He likes to whip opponents into the ropes, into the corner. I don't really see anything. I don't see that much of an issue with that, especially considering he was a tag worker for so long. I mean, to me, that doesn't seem like a.
His work definitely had an emphasis on the aesthetics, didn't it? Definitely.
Correct. It was very much, smooth work, technical, hit your move nice,
right?
Make things look pretty. Look, Owen didn't have good punches.
Right.
They were pretty bad at times, even.
Yeah.
He was not someone who was going to wrestle. He didn't have a lot of versatility in the ring. In terms of wrestling different styles. I mean, he could obviously do he could wrestle on the mat and he could wrestle tag or whatever, but in terms of
he wouldn't have a crazy brawl, for example.
Correct. He wouldn't have a crazy brawl.
It's what made him look kind of out of place in those Shamrock matches.
Sure. Yeah. Though I did think they were kind of fascinating to watch, and I actually enjoyed them.
No, I'm not arguing with that. I'm saying as far as a clash of styles go,
right?
Right.
Although I'll say this, and I mean it, and I've joked about it several times, and I know I've gotten a chuckle out of Alex before on it, but Owen was always a guy during the Attitude Era who would like, through all the Russo booking, would be like, man, I'm going to try to have a good match in 3 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Like he would like really try hard in these matches that he had, you know? You got 97 seconds. Okay, well,
Yes.
I'm going to whip you in the corner. I'm going to give you my spinning heel kick, and I'm going to give you a German for a near fall, and
Give you a
he was always
Yeah.
attempting to try to make it interesting in the few minutes that he had, which I always appreciated. And it was something that I noticed even when I was a little kid, because like, you know, all those Attitude Era pay-per-views I would rent was like, it always felt like Owen Hart had like one of the 2 or 3 best matches on the.
Mhm.
It wasn't always, he didn't always have the best match, but he
Right.
usually had the second or third best match on the show.
Which was his job, really, right?
Yeah,
Like that was,
Yep.
yeah, absolutely.
Or Colt, would it be fair to say he never necessarily stole the show unless he was like with someone
Correct.
in the family? Like
Correct. That's definitely true. Like Owen's best opponents were Bret, Davey, Austin, which is really the only one that was really outside. But even that was, you know,
I
with
did
the
think him and
Hot Rod
Shawn
Bacon and all that stuff.
Him and Shawn, I thought had a lot of chemistry. I will say
They did. That's
Oh,
it.
we'll
That's
get
a
there.
good shot. I really like the Rage in the Cage match from In Your House in February '96.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean he
It was interesting you mentioned the amateur style wrestling, because I don't, in fear of talking out, because I don't know the lineup we're going to see. It might come back up. He really shines in that Steiner Brothers tag match when they
Yeah.
get to do
He
some of
does,
the fucking
yeah.
amateur style stuff. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
and it's awkward, like, but like he also brings like the cool, like, you know, he brings some neat stuff in the Shamrock matches, right? Like,
Yeah.
and he also brings, you know, obviously the Bret match at Mania 10 is extraordinary on the mat and through the story that they tell, obviously more than anything.
He had a couple TV matches with Dan Severn that I remember. Like
Mhm.
he would
Yep.
do the Owen thing of, if I remember correctly, there was one. You know, Dan Severn's thing was the Dragon Sleeper was his finisher, and Owen, I think, like walked the ropes to backflip out of it and stuff like that. Like it was,
Right.
He would mix it in well. It's sometimes he might have
Yeah.
seemed a little out of his depth, but he would. Yeah, it was. In agreement with what you're saying thus far.
Yeah, he is an interesting example in the same way that Bret is, I think, of, you know, that kind of age-old debate about, is Bret Hart's career more impressive because he did it in a setting that wouldn't inherently suit a wrestler of his ilk, or is that what allowed him to stand out more? You know,
let me. This kind of jogging me a little bit.
Mhm.
It kind of makes me wonder, not to, well, fuck them. But I was gonna say not to jump on the Fed, but fuck them.
Accurate.
You do wonder if, and this is kind of a credit to him, if Owen just said, this is a certain way they want me to work, and I'm going to hit my spots, because that's very WWF, right?
Right.
You hit your stuff. There's a certain formula you work, right?
Mhm.
That's always a discussion of Bret, as you mentioned, Joe. He could only work a certain, you know, he was so great because he was constrained or confined in the WWF system and how they operated and how they worked wrestling matches and how they booked matches and agented them and so on and so forth. You know, I'm not as familiar with Owen's Japan work, and I know a lot of that was probably, you know, maybe some of that was just him hitting some great high spots well, and I know that some of those matches are fairly high regarded.
Mhm.
But you do wonder if he had maybe had a legit WCW run,
Right.
if the doors could have been open a little bit on what else he could have been able to be,
Well,
you know,
the big
capable of in
thing-
the ring. I don't know. It's just something worth throwing out there.
it is. Yeah, that's where I was headed. It is interesting, you know, if you read the like the Observer coverage back then, there was all the talk about the idea of what if Owen and Pillman can be a team in WCW and be a babyface team, and this is like 91, 90, whatever that time frame is, I forget. And it is interesting to get around. Like, I don't know, Alex, do we think that Owen do we think his style was such a contrast in the WWF, which allowed him to really flourish ultimately, or do we think that actually there's more that he kind of never got to show because that wasn't the setting to show it, which isn't necessarily a negative thing even, really. It's just wrestling, right? What do you reckon, Alex?
As far as his run in the WWF goes, I don't know. I think he was kind of perfect. Look, he goes to WCW 91. What's his ceiling there? You know,
Right.
You see, but in WWF, you know, I'm just thinking of like through the new generation. He's working with the Undertaker. He's working with Diesel. Like, and he has the style to complement them. And you know, he had some great matches with Razor, and like the showcase matches with like Waltman and shit. They had the King of the Ring '94 match and whatnot. And I can't sit here and tell you that I think his run as a pro wrestler would have been better if he had chose WCW over that.
No, that would be very bold. But
Well,
artistically,
and to be fair, and you kind of got me thinking, like, what would he have done if he had stayed? So, like, he would have been like, let's just be honest, they would have put him in the light heavyweight division. He would have been feuding with Scotty Flamingo. No, he would have a match with Liger on the stage, which would have been good, right?
He likes. Look, even
maybe
though
Scorpio in a cool match or something.
I was about to say Scorpio. Even if fucking Marcus Alexander Bagwell's involved, we would have got the Bagwell and Scorpio against Pillman and Owen tag match, which would have been pretty good.
Yep.
And so, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to ponder, but I feel like because all right, so he has the initial run in the Fed in 88, 99. Okay, yeah, and then comes and goes.
it's just he's interesting in the sense that
he would have had an awesome match with Barry Windham on Saturday night.
Yes,
hell
absolutely.
yeah, baby.
Babyface match with Steamboat, all these things. But it's just interesting that, you know, Oracle basically mentioned it earlier when he would buy those Attitude Era pay-per-views. Like, those undercards were not rich with
no, they weren't.
action.
You don't say.
Like, it's, you know, and again, this is the least of any tragedies involved Owen's death, but people have talked about the fact that it's hard not to wonder what the impact would have been of when the guys come over later that year or early next year. Presumably Owen would have been the top of the list of all of those guys, wouldn't he? You know, like in theory, that would have really, again, in a just, which is the least of his concerns, but it's
even
true, right?
Year. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like it's
he was
right
one
there.
of, you have to remember that he was like going back to where, like, you know, where his place it was on the card. He was one of the six of New Generation. It was what? Bret, Shawn, Taker, Diesel, Razor, and Owen. You know, maybe
Probably, yeah.
maybe Yoko
Yeah.
probably, but like that's. I mean, he was
He
right
was one of the main guys.
you know, the whole time.
So I do want to rip this Band-Aid off pretty early because there are some people that kind of overstretch. He wasn't as good of a worker as Bret was.
No,
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, there's some people that kind of overstep sometimes, and I think can conflate some things. But he was.
I definitely can see how through modern eyes, people find him more accessible because he was flashier. I could definitely see that.
I would agree with that. And what I would say, my thing with Owen has always been, he did, to your point, it's really unclear of how much he wanted to be there, and he still had the body of work that he did.
Yes.
And you compare that to like rest his soul as well, Mike Von Erich, a guy who clearly didn't want to be there, and you compare like that, and I think it just shows like Owen Hart's autopilot was better than most guys on their best day, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, there definitely seems to have been a pretty different, a pretty wide span in terms of the mentality between Owen and Bret, right? And not in a bad way. I just think they just looked at wrestling differently.
It was life to one of them.
Yeah. Now, for more conversation about hypotheticals and such, check out Grim Infinite Possibilities, where Rice made this graphic. And
oh, baby.
Beautiful.
Oh, that would have been.
Can you imagine, dude?
Wow.
Check out the first Grim Infinite Possibilities. So, I
Bret
just have
taking
a
the
kind of
Buster from Arn. No.
have an overview, and let's talk about the Owen.
Rick taking Owen's fucking Irish whip, spinning heel kick, and Rick like taking like the side bump on his hip.
Yeah, the awkward side bump.
Dude,
Classic.
okay, the big thing that builds to the hot tag is Rick's trying to get the figure 4, and Owen works back up to 1 foot, gives him the enziguri. Rick does the flare flop, and then Owen dives for the tag. Dude, yeah.
Beautiful. Let's talk about the 8 matches that came up the most, and we're going to just kind of talk broadly here, folks. We hope you're enjoying the stream. If you are, my friend Bob does have some advice for you.
Yeah, if you're having a good time, you go ahead and smash that like button.
Yes, indeed. Okay, let's talk about it actually came up earlier. In at 8, we have the In Your House Rage in the Cage match with Shawn Michaels. I thought these guys had a lot of chemistry. Lots of chemistry, and actually, I think we're a much more natural stylistic fit than Bret and Shawn were, because I think we're a lot more like-minded in terms of their approach to a wrestling match, than Bret and Shawn were. Bobby, I did send these matches over to you beforehand. Do we have any contemporary notes on this one from the time, mate?
Yes. Well, the show was generally well received. I was in the minority. Shawn Michaels and Owen Hart had an excellent match, but from a wrestling standpoint, it was a one-match show. Bret Hart and Diesel's main event cage match was terrible. And then he does the match review for Bret and Owen. Talks about Shawn. This is where Shawn comes off the top of the In Your House roof for his entrance. So that was something Dave pointed out. Yeah, he really liked it. 4 stars. 4
stars. Time with the WWF is, again, it's not... I like all that stuff, but it wasn't exactly observer-friendly action, was it, at the time?
No.
Contrarian Alex, you warned us of some sort of Shawn Michaels detonation on this program. Would you like to go in that direction now?
I don't remember this match.
Really?
Yeah.
It's good.
I remember more. They have like a 95 In Your House match I'm thinking of.
So the 95 one you're thinking is, okay, so the night after Survivor Series 95 on Raw, Owen does a spinning heel kick, and Shawn, I believe it's a spinning heel kick, right? Right, Joe? And Shawn has a concussion.
Oh, it's the enziguri.
The enziguri, thank you. Sorry. Yep, the enziguri. And Shawn has the whole, they did the whole angle and tell me a lie, blah, blah, blah. And then this is Shawn comes back, wins the Rumble 96, right? And then Owen's like, I beat you, Shawn Michaels, Classic
okay.
Owen.
Very good.
And then
this is their match with like the In Your House, like house aesthetic. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just confused like kind of all it together.
Really good. Worth a revisit.
Yes.
No, my Shawn Michaels thing is, do we dip into 97 at all? Do we get close to Montreal with any of these matches?
Yes.
Okay.
We talk about specifically Shawn Michaels in 97, actually, so I'll let you save it.
Thank you. Oh, cool. Undertaker comes out of the ring in the main event of this match. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you telling me you don't own the Best of 1996 Dawn of Attitude DVD, Alex? Is that what you're telling me right now?
I do not.
Are you telling us you do, Joe?
Absolutely, I am. Yes. 96. That's my favorite stuff. The in-between eras is the most interesting wrestling ever.
Yeah.
Infuriating the way they fuck with what the Attitude Era is. Because I have that, like, I have... So, all right. Physical media tangent here. They released 3 Best of the Attitude Era sets. The first one was just like the shit documentary with JBL, like, oh, Vince Russo, rah, rah. And then like, and then the second 2 were unreleased matches from the Attitude Era. So there's a lot of like dark main events from Raw and shit like that, and TV matches that were never released. But at the time the third one comes around, they are playing so loose and fast with what the Attitude Era is. For those who don't know, the Attitude Era is the night after Survivor Series 1997 to WrestleMania 17. That is the Attitude Era. And they're doing like fucking Ultimate Warrior's house show return in 96 and this shit. It's driving me insane. So when that Dawn of the Attitude Era thing came out, I just threw my hands up and I was like, I don't know what's what anymore. I'm fucking done with this. But I agree with you. Artistically, some of those interesting shit they did was specifically in 96 and 97 up until Montreal, where they were just like, whatever, let's see what we can put on TV that'll compete with Nitro.
Yeah. And again, in terms of, giving the team some scoring, Owen was one of the main names that they would turn to as like, we need some excitement on this damn show, in the ring, that is. So, yeah, absolutely. What is the Monday Night Wars doc where my brother and I love it, but we don't know which one it is, where Michael Hayes says They're talking about WCW dying, and Michael Hayes hits a legitimate, earnest ding dong. The bitch is dead. And like he's just a talking head with his little button-up shirt, you know. Yeah.
There's the Monday Night Wars, which I'm pretty sure one of the matches that was like the big special feature, and that's going to come back up. But there's Vince, and they're going, you know, when it was over, there wasn't this moment of, oh yeah, Vince, you got him. It was like, fuck you, dude. You were nude when you signed the fucking contract, man.
No question. Oracle, this is very good, isn't it? Very good match.
Oh yeah. This is a we're still on Rage in the Cage, aren't we?
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, man. I went all over the place.
No, we've all been everywhere. Sorry. I was glancing over a bit at the halftime highlights here. I apologize. But this match is excellent. I really enjoyed this program when I watched all that Monday Night War stuff back in 2022. This match I actually think is their best match. I really do like the Raw match after Survivor Series 95 a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
This one, the Raw match 95 and the Raw match at the end of 97 are all three great. And the 97 one's even more unique because Owen's babyface there. Perhaps we'll get to that. But yeah, this match is just really good. Owen just does a really good job on top. Shawn has a really strong babyface performance here. I'm pretty sure the crowd's pretty hot for Shawn here. They're in Louisville, right? Is that right?
Believe so.
I think so.
Want to say that's correct? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I think that's right because I think Steve was at this show.
Yeah, yes, sir. Louisville Gardens.
Good luck to Steve, by the way.
Yeah.
On the eve of his big fight.
That motherfucker's
right.
He's gonna run the razor, man. Coast to coast.
The sixth big show this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, this match is great. If you haven't seen it or haven't revisited it in a while, check it out. It's awesome stuff. It's also worth just going to watch the Raw 95 match and then watching them back to back to kind of get the
I definitely
story.
agree. No question. Folks, I did want to note, we kind of mentioned the hypothetical of Owen's career in terms of where he worked predominantly in his prime. We do have a trip to Japan on our 8, though, which I think is fitting because otherwise we're sticking in the WWF. And at 7, we have what I believe, and I'm pretty certain of this. I think the most famous Owen match in New Japan is with Liger from April 28th, 1991. Now, I don't know how recently any of you watched this, but I wanted to use this more as a broad talking point about...
Long time ago.
Yes. Now, I think this stuff has actually been maybe the most debated of Owen's work because this is very much emphasis on athleticism. The coverage of this at the time is so interesting to look back on through modern eyes because these matches were earning Owen like best in the world conversation. People were really excited. The Smart Fan at the time. Now, you have to remember, this is 35 years ago. So the Smart Fan then was a much more it was less bubbles within the bubble, if that makes sense, right? But it is interesting with now, and you look at the emphasis on flash, aesthetics, dare I say acrobatics, which sounds more dismissive than I intend for it to be, but it is interesting to see, even back then, because this isn't my favorite stuff, but it is interesting to just compare, right? Like that kind of evolution of the Smart Fan. Alex, I'll go to you on this again. We don't have to focus on the match specifically as much as the conversation. It is interesting, right? This was stuff that had a little bit of folklore, would be fair to say, Alex. Now, talk me through that as a Smart Fan in the earlier days of the internet. Was this stuff that would come up? Would you read about Owen in Japan a lot, like you would with some of the other guys that would emerge in the late 90s, the mid to late 90s in the States? Talk to me about that whole thing.
I remember on our 1991 draft episode, it came up recently.
Yes.
Explaining when I was in college, I remember tracking down a download or a torrent of this Liger Owen match that appeared to be like a 4th generation VHS rip that someone had uploaded onto the internet. So next time you watch a stream and you bitch about it not being fucking 4K, think about that. But Yeah, it was because he's in his little. I can see it. Owen's got his little white suspenders and the red pants and stuff, and it was talked about as like this match in particular, the Liger one, is something like you got to see, and the Hase match too was another one of Owen that people would always circle back to, and I don't know, like when I really became aware of this stuff when I got the internet would have been early 2000s, so it was obviously kind of like in looking back on Owen's career and people, the elder statesmen of the forums explaining, you don't know what you're really talking about because you need to watch these matches with Owen Hart. And yeah, this Liger match, I mean, obviously like Liger's legitimately one of the most revolutionary wrestlers of the fucking 90s. And yes, if you watch this today, it seems way more in line with what wrestling is right now than the Steiners against the Hart brothers, And so the fact that Owen could do both was very impressive. But I think a lot of people in reminiscing him and like what could have been think of this like G1 prospect of Owen of doing matches like this, in a tournament format once a year. It's really good. I remember the finish. If I remember correctly, the finish is like a DDT off the top rope, and it looks brutal. It's there's a lot more of people at the time when I first discovered this were really looking back on it in terms of like what could have been.
Yeah, Oracle, there's something that's, I think, with time, it's impossible to kind of recapture, right? This sort of this aura, this mythology that would surround guys that had these prior thrillers in Japan, right? This was like a big part of the smart fan experience, was actually watching this stuff when stuff became available.
Yeah, I mean, this was like, it really is hard to describe because I didn't really, I was so young even when I got like kind of the leftovers of my oldest brother's wrestling tapes,
Mm-hmm.
it was just cool to like turn on the, put in a Japanese tape and hear the Japanese commentary and see Liger with his mask or whatever.
You didn't appreciate it.
I wasn't, it was just wrestling for me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But there was definitely that lore, even in the magazines in the early 2000s, like you'd have like, you read about 01. I think it was, Carino was, over there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those ROH guys were over there in 01.
It gave guys like this kind of street cred, didn't it?
Yes, it did. It really did. And like, as someone who went to a lot of indies when I was a kid in North Georgia and East Tennessee, you'd get like, hey man, AJ Styles went to Japan. AJ, he went over there and wrestled in Japan, or tell you what, that Terry Gordy's kid, he went over there and wrestled in Japan, and you get these kids who, oh man, I went to this show and I don't even know, I went to Wildside and this guy, he wrestled in 01 and this guy wrestled in this place and that place, and like I don't know, there was a different even then, even as late as then in the 2000s, even into the mid 2000s, it was a big deal. And for me, who had no money, I was 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. I didn't need money, so I could convince my dad to get the big 4 and other pay-per-views, but like, I can't, hey, I want to get these tapes from 01, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, like I wasn't even, something that I even would even try to do, but that lore doesn't exist anymore because everything is so readily available for us. I mean, if someone told me to go watch this Stardom match or this New Japan match or this,
which would be a weird thing to throw your way specifically, but yes, it would be different.
Right, exactly. That's always don't.
It is a different thing though, definitely, and Alex, the smart fan culture, like so much of it was entrenched in Man, if you could only see these guys, what they did in Japan, right? Like,
we always talk about Vader, the whole Vader in Japan. Yeah, it's absolutely true. And yeah, Oracle, what he was saying too, like, dude, that shit still rings true through local scenes. Anytime a guy from Texas does a tour of Japan, people are like, "Did you hear? They went to Japan." So.
Yeah, absolutely, Bobby. What was the conversation about this at the time? If you could find any, there might have been a delay on this one. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I actually did find this one. Jushin, Liger pinned Owen Hart in the junior heavyweight tournament. Hart started out doing one great move after another. They went down to the mat to exchange submission holds before picking things up once again with one great spot and move followed by near fall after another. This match is about as great as one would expect between these two. 4.5.
Dude, Dave's Forbidden Door preview is must watch. I don't know why we didn't do previews this way on the Grin. Every match he just gives a percentage chance of it being a good match. So like he'll say like Swerve and Ospreay, and this is actually here. Swerve and Ospreay said I'd put that about 110%. And he's just running down the card, and on the short, the YouTube short, like you can see the match card and all the graphics, and I'd say it's around an 85. And Brian's just like nodding. Yep. Keep it going, Dave.
And then, no, the funny thing is, too, he did for Night of Champions, he's like, well, if this is direction for SummerSlam, then this person will win. But if this is direction, then this person will win. Like, thanks, man. Great stuff.
Dave discovered YouTube Shorts, and he's like, all right, we're changing the whole model.
Dude, there was a short of him talking about FTR taking a break that... It really could have been edited in a range of different ways. So he's talking and he needs to sneeze. And he goes, sorry, hold on. And he goes, like he does like a little baby sneeze, bless him. And it just is left in the short. And then he goes, but they are wrestling, what is that now? And like 10 seconds of the short is him just going, the British guys, what are their names? It's outstanding. Must see. So, yeah, I wanted to note that. But Jushin Liger, this, I haven't watched this match in some time, but this stuff is more interesting to me from a folklore point of view, to be honest. This is not really my style. I think it's just interesting to see how much that, like, modern... If you're a new fan, I think this is more easily accessible than almost anything else in 1991 you could possibly watch, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like... It was definitely a trendsetter and was part of the kind of stylistic evolution, as was the next match in its own way. And this is a big change of pace. Go for it.
I was just going to say real quick, for the time period, matches like this make the alleged Sabu versus Owen Hart match that never made tape so much more fascinating.
Yeah.
Because it would have been 93. So, but the idea, because I was just thinking, if we watched Sabu in our Sabu Grin Grappler, we watched him right around this time in New Japan, and the idea of what they were doing and whatnot. That's one of those matches that I think some people have said it didn't happen, but Bret wrote about it in his book or whatever. But it might just be one of those things that's better left to the imagination. But you watch something like this and you realize how fascinating something like that could have been.
Real worlds collide situation, right? Yeah. Very much. This next match is such a cool little piece of history. I don't know how much a reputation this has among younger fans, but it made our list, so we'll talk about it here at 6. King of the Ring 94, 1, 2, 3 Kid in a pretty famous sprint, right?
How much does this guy weigh?
Oracle, this has got to be like a definitive WWF sprint.
Oh, I love this match. I had this at 5, I think.
You did, yeah.
What is it, like 3 minutes, 4 minutes?
Yeah.
It's amazing. They just go balls to the wall. That's like, if you want to show off athleticism and hit some awesome shit and get a crowd going, go 5 minutes or less. It's always great. And these guys were like the perfect two to tango with that style. One of the all-time best King of the Ring matches. Just really, really great stuff. They packed such a big punch in the short amount of time that they had. Just a really awesome match. One of my all-time favorite Owen matches.
Why do people not steal this more often? This is the
Especially
sprint.
in today's age of wrestling, where people are so
Yeah.
so big on athleticism and like crazy offense. You can have an awesome fucking match in 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
This match went 3:37, and Dave gave it 3 1/4 in
There you
94.
go. I mean, that's actually
Yeah.
impressive. That shows you how good it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Bobby, what was the coverage of this at the time, mate?
Yeah, I mean, Dave didn't really like the setup because X-Pac was taken out earlier, and then they said he couldn't come back, and they just came back and faced Owen, and they did that on a lot of pay-per-views in 1994. Yes. And then he said, if they were going to have him do this competitive match where they can kind of use it as a showcase the new generation, which they were trying to do, why not have him go longer? Which is fair, but yeah, he did give it 3 1/4. He said, about as good as a short match you'll ever see.
Bobby, what would you say is a good comp for this on pay-per-view? Is there something that comes to mind? Difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, because it's not like a straight-up squash, really. Like, they're just kind of trading bombs the whole time, but
back and forth.
337 too. I mean, yeah,
it's like a shootout, is what it is. It's awesome.
Like it's kind of like Brock Goldberg at WrestleMania 33 because that's only technically like 4.5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Like a junior heavyweight version, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting, Alex. This is a pretty unique piece of the catalog, I would say, and I'm glad it made the list as a result of that. What do you make of this one here?
One of the better. Just shots where it's doing the fucking Aronofsky behind Waltman, and then Owen flies to the ropes and kicks the shit out of him. Like, yeah, that's an awesome, like, just reveal, I guess you would say, in that moment. Yeah, it's I think kind of lost in a lot of the Owen lore is that he won King of the Ring because he had to one up his brother. That was the whole story. Bret won in 93, Owen won in 94.
Do you think it's because people remember the Slammy Owen stuff more?
Which, to be fair, that was much funnier.
Yes, I think that's what it is, though, right? Rather than King.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously, two guys that, well, for Waltman, going back to Sabu, we talked about that famous 93 tape trader's dream that he had with Sabu. And so, of course, Owen saw a guy like this, and he said, give me 3.5 minutes and we'll figure out something to do. And I mean, that's the best match from that show. That's the one that has the really, really bad Piper Lawler match, right?
It also has Art Donovan on commentary?
Yeah, how much does this guy weigh? Yeah. Is that his second? What's he doing? That's Oh, wait, no. Okay, but this one also has the really good Nash and Bret match. But
that match is good.
Yeah. They had really good chemistry.
Yeah. But anyway, great stuff. Owen's whole approach to wrestling, and it's as weird as it sounds, he would have almost seemed like, with how fast everything moved in the WWF back then, he would have almost seemed like an elder, wrestling the rookie 1, 2, 3 kid. And like their styles just complemented each other so well. So yeah, this is a hoot.
Well, that is actually a relevant point to discuss just for a moment. I do think it's important we stress that the length of Owen's run then was a lot more notable than it would be now, because nowadays, a lot of guys have spent a long time in the WWE, right? But it wasn't commonplace to have a run of that length then, really at all, actually. It was, I mean, even if you look, so what would be his, when does he come in for the second time with the high energy stuff? When is that?
In late 91.
Right, so, because even if you look around,
91, I think.
Even if you look around in the family, like Neidhart's in and out a bunch, Davey's in and out, right? Like it was pretty unique to have the length of run. To Alex's point, he would have probably felt like a WWF veteran at that point, which is weird, but it's true. He was probably 28 years old or something.
Fucking 99. He was, like you said, 34 or whatever, and he felt like one of the vets. Was he on? Yeah, he was on the fucking WrestleMania 8 card. He beat Skinner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. In a really quick one, right? Really quick.
In the co-main event of the evening, it led into Hogan and Sid Justice.
Remember, he and Neidhart, he and Anvil were the new foundation.
Yes, and that's how.
Excuse me.
Jim Neidhart got his Hasbro, where he's in the new foundation gear.
When did WrestleMania stop being a show where you could just go, Owen's going to work Skinner for 50 seconds in the co-main. When did that stop? Was it that year? It may have been that year. Because if you watch the early WrestleManias, bro, guys could just have matches, couldn't they?
10 has some funky shit, man. Like Alundra Blaze beat someone in fucking 30 seconds or whatever. So I'll say 10. I'll go 10 was the latest win. Because remember the whole thing that got cut? Remember that, like, was it fucking Adam Bomb against Earthquake that got cut?
10 was the big tag with, like,
Tito
Santana. Not Tito Santana. Rick Martel, Jarrett, those guys. Yeah.
Oh, Bob Holly got cut. That's right.
Well, yeah, his book mentioned it extensively. Yeah. Almost as bad as when he thought he was in the ECW title match for some reason at WrestleMania 23. Dude, did you see that MVP clip about WrestleMania 23? He got paid $100,000.
Good.
$100,000, and he said he called Dave Batista because he was concerned that he had been paid too much and thought they were testing him and seeing if he was going to tell him that he'd been paid too much. And Dave was like, US title against Benoit. He was like, I reckon you're about 150 to 100. If anything under 100, I'd be mad. And MVP was like, oh, fair enough. I guess this is mine. Hell yeah. What a different time. Anymore, no wonder everyone worked hurt, bro. Holy shit. What's up?
Okay. They don't pay him that much for shows like that anymore, do they?
They don't. It doesn't work like that anymore. Yeah. No.
Remember the thing Randy Orton got $900,000 for WrestleMania 25?
Yeah. Should have paid us, quite frankly.
No fucking shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, to close out, Alundra Blaze defeated Leilani Kai in 3:20, but Earthquake, that actually happened, defeated Adam Bomb in 35 seconds. So WrestleMania 10 is the last year the funky shit was like on the WrestleMania card.
So, well, I think I'm going to try and pick up what you're putting down. Are you blaming Shawn for this because he went long in the ladder match?
I'll blame Shawn for every goddamn thing under the sun.
Dude, when we watched WrestleMania 10 this year on the Grin, I'm not buying that was a real thing. You know, like the whole thing about the ladder match went long, and so therefore, if you watch that show is so glacial in pace. Like,
I'm looking at it right now.
I'm not buying it.
Long, it was 18 minutes.
Exactly, and if you watched it, Bobby, we watched it, right? Like, it's like there's so much downtime on that show. Like, it doesn't make sense that that's actually what happened. It just doesn't add up.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the first one where they have like a ton of celebrities. Really, well, first one in a few years where they have like a ton, and just celebrities that people don't care to see. So that slows it down too.
Also, how long does Yoko and Luger go?
15 minutes.
Which was 14 minutes too long.
They did have a lot of stars. In fact, if you remember the WrestleMania rap, we got stars. Come on, we got stars galore. You're gonna see a show like never before.
Are you gonna just let this be? You just let this stand?
I think we don't have to acknowledge this. No?
Oh, I just like to involve the community, you know.
Oh no, it's didn't that go like fucking 20 minutes?
Yeah, that was a featured match.
Jesus Jones. Before I forget, because I was talking about out of the new foundation, Jim Neidhart got his Hasbro. Owen got a Hasbro too, and I believe Brian Myers owns the only like known and confirmed mint on card autographed Owen Hart Hasbro.
Damn.
Yeah,
that's a likely thing for him to own.
Did you see he also recently procured a mint on card Yoko that was autographed?
I did not see that. Stuff's wild because there has to be so few of those, right? I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah, the guy who gave it up had the whole story because Yoko signed it BSK 95 Yokozuna, and it was some like in the new generation they would send those guys to fucking Al's Burger Hut to like sign shit, and someone showed up with a green card Hasbro, and the way they tell those stories too, they talk about it like it's fucking Watergate and shit, and he just told the story of under the cover of night had to go and procure it. But anyway,
just quickly before we move on, while we're off subject, Paul Heyman did an interview with Chris Van Vliet this week.
I'm sure that it was very truthful, and I'm sure he was really pressed on a lot of things.
He claimed that Shane McMahon really wanted to buy ECW and run it as its own operation, and all I could think was, imagine the cultist that Contrarian Alex would have been if in 2001 Shane McMahon saved ECW and led it into some sort of prosperous, bright future. I was thinking, you'd have been I think you'd have ended up in jail, to be honest.
All this shit behind you right now would just been a big fucking flag of Shane McMahon.
Yeah. The Extreme Millionaire. All right. Let's get into the top 5. I mentioned Shawn in 97 earlier, but maybe not quite as you expect. This match is awesome. It is Owen and Davey. Obviously, Austin and Shawn from May 26, 97, Monday Night Raw. Talk about matches that are accessible with modern eyes. Oh my God, the pace of this match, dude. The standard of work in this match is supreme. Like, just razor sharp. Go, go, go. Incredible, incredible pro wrestling. Absolutely love this match. Obviously, Austin and Shawn are in rare form at this time, but I didn't think it's a nice chance to talk about the Davey team, which is, I actually think some of the best Iron work, full stop. Yeah. They are a great, I would put them in the same, I mentioned it when we did the Cash video on Productions, I mentioned Los Guerreros in this vein. Some tag teams that are more short-lived, and they're guys that were known as singles, we don't do a good enough job of appreciating how good of an actual team they were. Owen and Davey were a team, dude, and they were a damn good one at that. Probably the best in the entire scene at the time. Bobby, this match rules, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. We don't have a write-up on it, unfortunately, because I don't think Dave really did TV match write-ups back then. It was a different time. 4 1/4. And, yeah, I mean, they were a great team. We just watched the 97 stuff a few months ago for Tuesday Night Titans. And, I mean, they were kind of the stars of the journey. And, it is a shame that they didn't get the team for a little bit longer. But, yeah, I mean, they're a great team.
They're a top-tier FTR dream match in my book. Bobby, Cal has some great advice for our audience. Would you like to co-sign this by any chance?
Yeah, I'm with Cal here. If you're having a good time, go ahead and smash that like button.
Oh, baby. The Oracle of Wrestling. Thoughts on this match and thoughts on the Davey Boy team, mate?
Yeah. So the Davey Boy team I like. I always thought that they could have been better. They weren't bad.
Especially in a different era. Yeah.
I just wish that they had, because I personally, I'm a bigger fan of the Yoko team, because I like the matches with the Smoking Guns. I like the matches with Bob Holly.
You hate British people, things like that.
I went through Kid. I got I mentioned the Razor and Savio match, so on and so forth. I legit love that tag team. But this is their best match together, because they had the Furnace and the Fawn matches that were cool, but not like
they're cold too.
And they didn't have they just didn't have didn't have that spark you wanted out of them. But man, this match was, you didn't see a tag match like this on WWF TV almost ever.
Honestly, Oracle, at this point, you didn't see it in the States at this point, right? This is like...
No.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the pace they work, if you wanted to watch tag wrestling at the pace they work, I mean, the last time you saw a tag match work that way was 93 WCW in the States.
Yeah.
It had been like 4 years since, like, you saw a really classically paced tag match in the States on national TV. And this match just fucking rips, man. Hot crowd, back and forth. I think is this the match, Alex? Do you remember? Is this the match where they win the belts, Austin and Shawn?
Yeah.
So this match is it's one of the better TV matches in '97. Just a fucking awesome match.
Absolutely. And a cool chance to talk about the tag work that was Owen Hart. Alex, memories of this one and this team, mate?
I can't remember how this came up, but I'm pretty sure I've told this story before on here as far as a connoisseur of physical media goes. The Monday Night Wars DVD, this match was one of the bonus features on it, and that, like, at the time was like, holy shit, it was the first. It seems so antiquated now, but it was the first time that, like, it had been remastered and, like, re-released since it aired on television. So up at the 6 or 7 years before that, it had just been generations of VHS rips and shit. So that was a really big deal, and it's always stuck in my mind for that. I remember this match in particular being one that I was too excited about as a kid, because usually the deal was when I would have been 10 at this point, because I was on Eastern time, so the deal was I could watch the first hour of Raw, but then we had to tape the second hour, and I would watch it the next day. But I was like, this match, the idea of it excited me too much. Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin teaming up, so like I just couldn't sleep. And I remember just like going back downstairs and just telling my dad to like turn it on. And so it has like obviously a warm and fuzzy in that regard. But to the subject du jour with Owen Hart, and like specific to what we're talking about right now, the tag team with Davey. Yeah, they were great. I mentioned earlier we did that WrestleMania 13 Grin Along, and yeah, that match with Vader and Foley isn't some lost classic, but it's really good, and a lot of it is their work and like the way like Owen's the kind of chicken shit, and Davey's the powerhouse that comes in, and you know the speed and the brawn that their team brings together. And yeah, Oracle I brought up the Furnace and LaFon matches. There's one in particular I remember is pretty good, but like you said, the crowd's just. God bless them. Furnace and LaFon had no chance in that WWF system, man. They just did not give a shit about it. Yeah, a wonderful piece of business. One of the, if we ever did some sort of like top 20 matches of the Monday Night Wars, this would certainly wind up on that list. And the crowd's frantic. And the thing is, too, the finish isn't some like grandiose Cody Rhodes finally beating Roman Reigns situation. It's just like really quick, and then I think it goes into it might go like right into a brawl afterwards too. But like when the 3 count happens, the crowd's just like so frantic about it. Yeah, good shit.
Yeah, this is they're at the top near the top of my list for me in terms of like teams I wish could have existed in a slightly different, under certain parameters, because I think they could have had a deeper kind of catalog in terms of the run, right? If they had different teams surrounding them, there wasn't a ton to work with at the top, like with respect to the Headbangers and the Co.
Oh man,
it wasn't, it wasn't Kawada and Tower, you know what I mean?
Owen and Davey against Jack Evans and Roderick Strong.
Right, exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, it'd be very good, wouldn't it?
Oh,
I don't think we'd be comfortable with how Roddy and Jack would look against them, but
physically no. But then I'm just thinking of the shit Davey and Jack could do together. Like
how would they call that match, Alex?
I mean, I don't know how much offense Roddy and Jack are getting, but yeah, be a hoot. I know that.
Just imagine Davey talking to Jack Evans and Roddy Strong.
All right, so against them, against Stenerico, and Sammy's not letting them call shit. All right, so we'll get to the ring, and he just fucking cuts them off. All right, no, they would work the Briscoes. That's a tag team. They would fucking fuck.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. We can watch all of these matches. I'm down for all. Once we get that time machine working, we'll be all in.
Miracle Violence Connection.
Yep.
Yeah.
The it would have been fun to watch them with all of the SmackDown 6 combos. All right, have been really fun.
Get one of those really funky one-offs where Davey and Owen get sent to ECW for one show and they wrestle the Eliminators.
See, now we're really starting to put some stuff together. So I like doing these kind of things. All right, we're working on this here. All right, tremendous. Let's move forward here to a match that I don't think this particular panel is as high on as the consensus, as birds chirp outside the door here. Thunderstorm has stopped, folks. The cage match from SummerSlam, which is, I know, I know has proved divisive previously this cruise. We can keep this a somewhat brief segment. Bob O'Neill, I know that whatever we think, this was very revered at the time, fair to say.
It was, yeah. Dave loved it. He called it best match humanly possible given the constrictions of the WWF cage match rules. Which, I mean, yeah, fair. It just, I don't like it very much. He gave this 5 stars, which I don't think it should have. I think the WrestleMania match should have gotten 5 stars if he was going to give either of the 2 5 stars.
Wow, 5-star rating analysis there from Bob O'Neill. Okay. So this just we did this on Grin Grappler. We don't have to dwell on this. The thing is with this is that you guys all get very mad about how much they try and climb out of the cage. Right? Is the problem? You're very angry. Mm-hmm. I get it. I don't even really disagree with it, but that is the contention. Fair to say, boys. Right? It's a big problem for you guys.
Yeah.
It is pretty dramatic, though, I think.
Yeah.
In its own way.
My favorite part of the whole thing is everybody at ringside.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it goes on for too long for my liking. I just think it's an inferior match, regardless of my extreme opinion on it. It's just an inferior match to the Mania match. I think the Mania match is pretty clearly better.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been on my ballot, but I do get why there is an affinity for it. And also because for the folks that grew up on it, not included Alex, clearly, this is the high point in terms of position of Owen's run, right? In the sense that, this doesn't close the show, but it's the WWF title match on SummerSlam in the United Center, brand new United Center of that. Like, this is a big match, isn't it? Cage match, it's a really, really big match. So I think people remember it as a definitive Owen match, and it clearly got rave reviews at the time and then some. So I get why it's here. I don't want us to dwell on the segment because I think it's just kind of pointless. But yes, they try and escape a lot, very often. Here's one that I know we all like a lot, and there's got some T-shirt representation on our, from our panel here tonight. In at 3, we have the main event of Canadian Stampede. Canadian Stampede is an iconic WWF show. There you go. There you go. Thank you, Bobby. An iconic WWF show that, is... How many matches are on it? 4?
4, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Tucker and Sasuke, Vader and Taker. Main
Undertaker,
event.
full Mankind and Triple H, and they brawl the whole show.
That's right. Yeah, they brawl the whole show. But people remember the main event, really, right? Like, Sasuke and Tucker's awesome and all that stuff's fun, but it's the main event that people remember as like a definitive WWF thing from that time and a sign of a transforming World Wrestling Federation. And it has to be said, Oracle, Owen is a big part of the match itself, right? He's, in some ways, kind of the emotional crux of it.
He really is, yeah. He gets taken out of the match, right, and then comes back heroically and gets the pin on Austin, I believe, to get the victory.
Yep.
Awesome performance from Owen. Amazing match, one of the all-time best moments in the history of the company. The entrances where they announce every member of the foundation is honestly the best entrance in the history of WWF. Still,
it's insane, dude.
And the post match for the Hart family, and there's so many. It's the image of the Hart family all together at the end is like that's. Sadly, it also felt like the peak of that family because it was obviously a horrifying few years after that. But there's so many connotations and so much of what that show represents in that match. And Owen was absolutely a big part. He was just awesome, man. I mean, just the whole deal. Of course, if I'm not mistaken, when Owen gets taken out, I believe one Bruce Hart gets involved.
Indeed.
Just the shenanigans out there. I mean, it's just awesome. Just one of my all-time favorite matches ever. Not just
absolutely
all-time ever.
And you mentioned it. It's hard to watch, the post-match and such in a vacuum because it is, it's pretty striking, isn't it? Really, it's pretty sobering. A triumphant moment there, and in the midst of famed WWF year, and that I don't know if there's any show that captures the glory of that kind of time for them than that moment. It's pretty special. Bobby, you have the shirt on. Give us your thoughts on Canadian Stampede, and then feel free to go into Dave's, or start with Dave's and then go through it.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, Oracle really laid it out. Just everything that they did, from the entrances to the content of the match itself. I mean, it's 10 guys who all fucking rule, honestly. Well, I mean, 9 in Jim Neidhart, but close enough. So it's really what they're capable of when they're firing on all cylinders. And they had kind of the perfect storm with it being in Calgary and all that, and I get that. But yeah, just really special night. And the whole show's great. We talked about it's only 4 matches. I think it's like 2-hour show, if that. And it's well worth your time if you somehow never seen it. Yeah, Dave was very high on all of it. It's mostly just a recap because it is a long match. really is high on the Hart family stuff at the end, like we all are. Show ended with the entire Hart family, all the kids and grandkids, along with Stu and Helen in the ring to a thunderous ovation that I could only compare with the afternoon at Texas Stadium when Kerry Von Erich beat Ric Flair to win the NWA title, 4 1/4.
It's a beauty, no doubt about it, and a very unique atmosphere, Alex. This, you got this represented on your shirt also. There we go. Memories of Canadian Stampede, mate.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be today, tomorrow, or next week, Joe, but I think another project we have going on, the show might come up at another point in time. But this was it Tape? Our friend Tape? It might have been him who said this is likely the greatest WWF match of all time. Just terms of what the feeling, what it accomplishes here. And bell to bell, is it the best story told? I don't know if I'm qualified to say that, but I do know that, like, if you, myself, and Oracle and Bobby ever do that ill-fated project of, like, top WWF matches of all time, I know all 4 of us would have this near the top of the list. It's just I don't even know if I would call it like lightning in a bottle and one of these things that just it just kind of happened and it was so special, like Punk and Cena at Money in the Bank 2011. It's just like the audience there just loved these guys so much, and they were just so revered and so respected. And I guess the lightning in the bottle part would be like the summer of creating this ideology of Canada versus USA, and Steve Austin being the number 1 target in Canada and whatnot, which is a lot of fun. But this is special. This is a match that you point to when you go through. I guess I would say this: you rewatch this and it reminds you that you go through the endless embarrassment of being a professional wrestling fan and like the constant like frustration and struggle, the Danhausen of everything. And then you watch this and you're like, oh yeah, this is what it can be. And that's specific to the entrances when all 5 members of the Hart Foundation come out one by one. And, Owen is the penultimate one and gets this just like this just hometown ovation. Like, you done good. Like Bret obviously is the fucking the centerpiece, but Owen he gets such a big moment and he wins the match. And that's like, it's so big. And yeah, the post match, obviously, and like one of the last shots of the pay-per-view, if I remember correctly, is Owen's holding his son and his son is holding the Owen Hart action figure. And it's just fucking beautiful. And it's, the rare instance you watch something and you go, how can you not be romantic about professional wrestling? This is one of those things. This is a special match. Like from any generation, any era, any promotion, this was a moment in time, something truly special.
Yeah, it's a timeless atmosphere in it. It can stand up against anything pretty much. It's just, and it's not overproduced either, is it? Like, they didn't put hats on the hat here, did they? They let the atmosphere speak for itself, which I think
they were smart enough to cut out too on the commentary in the opening stretch of just like letting it happen. Yeah. I think the good news is Bruce got his spot and knew when to jump the rail, and so.
Yeah, Oracle brought that up earlier, and I was thinking Alex he'll get there. So, yeah, if you've never seen Canadian Stampede, worth remedying. Maybe next year will be 20 years. Maybe we'll do something about that. We'll see. But 30 years. Fuck. 30 years. Wow. Right, next year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus Jones.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know why that was hard for me to figure out as a 97 baby, but there was.
Yeah. Oh, God. I just remember Joe turning 30 next year.
Yep.
He was like, fuck, let me be 29 first.
That's quit the business, sell your boots shit, that is, mate. Get out. Sell my microphone on eBay, I'll sign it. All right. We're talking more about Davey Boy at number 2. European title match, March 3rd, 97. One of the more unique Raw matches ever because of the setting, right? Now, I did realize when we did the 97 journey, I've always got this confused for the Raw that, like, changes everything, where they have to... It's actually the later European Raw. They have 2, right? We discovered this when doing the 2. I always thought this. Yes, this confused me. Right? This is not the Raw that forces Vince to like break down the whole show. It's another Raw, apparently.
Yeah.
This is not the one that he gives Russo the keys to the kingdom for?
Apparently, Bob, where is the one where that happens? I should have this in my notes, but I do not. Do you remember?
I can look that up real quick.
Okay, thank you, Bob. But either way, because of the setting, the environment, and the vibe, this Raw is basically a house show, is the way it feels. Yeah. But the main event is obviously incredible and has a ton of time, which is Owen and Davey for the European title. And I don't know what would be a good comp for this match through the first 4 years of Raw's history. This is like a singular match in Raw's history at this point, right? Like, what else was like this, really, in terms of... It's like an exhibition match, almost. Like, Tempest Flare within the match. Ironically, Alex, to go back to your other point, it taps into some of that what could have been about, the tournament wrestling in Japan, right? Like, if you just let these guys just wrestle, look what happens. I absolutely love this match. It definitely, Oracle, again, it is certainly an emphasis on the aesthetics, right? And the smoothness. But God, it is pretty to watch, isn't it?
Oh, it's great. It really reminds me of like, what's the best way to put it? It's very much like a match that would have taken place in like New Japan at the time. Really, in terms of like Tempest Flare, right? And things get more physical and, the moves, they up the ante from there with, with the physicality and the aggressive, and the aggression in the offense. Big near falls down the stretch. Yeah, this was great. This was like, this was honestly what Owen was best at, and I don't even mean that as a slight, because he was very good at that style. This and tag work were his strengths, I think, and still to this day, one of the all-time great Raw matches.
What other matches would you say, if we were doing a list of the great Raw matches? There's other matches that would be in the top tier, but what is even similar to this stylistically, would you say? It's very difficult, isn't it? It's a very un-Monday Night Raw match, honestly.
Cesaro and Bryan. That was a Monday Night Raw match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be many, would there, that you'd call out? Yeah. Very, very different. And again, speaks to that, in times of turmoil from a promotional point of view, trying stuff and doing different things. Very, very fun for the fan point of view. Alex, memories of this famed European title clash?
I just always like, when I think of this, I can see like that. It always, when I was a kid, I remember thinking that the arenas overseas were just like smoky because the screen, like the broadcast, was a bit more hazy. And that was just like the cameras they use, obviously it's different, but I can just see kind of the hazy thing. And Davey, I always kind of laugh about it now, because you can tell like Davey cared about the match when he did the arm wringer where you flip, roll, and then kip up out of it. Like that was always like his. Yeah, I can just see him doing that in this match, or he would do the flip kip up. But it's great, and it's like. It's a strange thing in that, to your point, it's just clearly something these guys have done fucking around in an empty building 1,000 times before, and just kind of drilled it over and over and over again.
Down in the basement. Hey.
In the dungeon. See the vein right here. If you put some pressure on it. Got to do laps telling Hart, fuck you, Stu. I don't even remember. Does the crowd eat it up, or is the crowd just kind of sitting there like?
The crowd reacts like as if to say, "Finally, some wrestling that we like."
Okay, all right.
Because there's a weird atmosphere on these shows, but they definitely react to this like, "Oh, this is the wrestling we like to see." Yeah, it's a very different.
I'm not just saying that.
No, Munich, or is it Munich? Is it Berlin or Munich?
I can't remember. We only watched it a few months ago. I can't recall. Honky Tonk Man's on commentary.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Fuck you, piece of shit. I'm not just saying this for the sake of the show. I do remember as a kid watching this, and up until that point, it being like the most wrestling-centric Monday Night Raw main event I'd ever seen, in terms of it wasn't just punch kicky. I remember like specifically taking stock of that. I'm pretty wish-washy with Davey, but this would have to be on the higher end of his matches.
can we stop with the anti-British propaganda? I mean, for one night, I know the World Cup's on and all that stuff. You've got to let Davey do his thing. You've got to leave him be at this point. I'm sorry, it's just he's an icon. An icon, I say.
Mr. Hobbit.
You know? I mean, that guy, I love Davey so much that every time I move his Big Rubber Guy action figure, I have to find a place for Matilda. And then I go, where is Matilda? And I have to move him, you know. And then you get Donald, who's cranking it over Carino, and he's giving me shit about Davey Boy. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
look,
it's the British Bulldog, bro.
Donnie, the kids might be all right with that mentality, you know.
Well,
the good news is Davey's no longer the most overrated wrestler of all time because Seth Rollins came along.
No. Need a partner on this, Bob. You can tag anytime. I'm tagging it anytime, I'm telling you. Anytime.
Listen, man, I think Davey's good, but I can't be defending the Brits during international sporting events.
Yeah, fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
you know, I got. Let me just point it out.
Okay.
Let's make it clear. Bottom three teams for me in the cup: France, Germany, and fucking England. Man,
Yeah.
those are the.
I'm getting this fucking
for me.
I'm getting this fucking Davey Boy. You talk among yourselves.
Donnie just called out in the chat, and now I'm thinking about the fucking Davey Boy to Jerry match. You imagine Davey gets misted. Ooh, die, me eyes.
Hitman, Mr. Hitman,
Mr. Tadges, we can do the buzzsaw.
I can't see to smoke my. Okay.
I like Davey Boy so much. This fucking thing didn't even look like him. And I still bought it to respect
That does
the
not
British
look
heritage.
like him. That looks.
No.
Is that supposed to be British Bulldogs there, Davey?
Yeah.
I can kind of see it.
Okay, yeah, it's the long mullet, so it's the all Japan version. But yeah, that.
Okay, yeah, from like 89, 90.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I think the heat's gonna melt this
Oh, it looks
fucker.
like Grinny.
Yeah, well.
Joe, you know, for like a half second, I started entertaining the idea of getting into collecting the Jack's Classic Superstars. And, dude, the resale on those, I'm just like, nope, can't do it.
Fuck that, dude. Yeah.
I have 4 of them mint on card on my wall, and that's you'll be pleased to know one of them is old HTM. He's up there in his
wow.
Yeah, I got Warrior, Flair, Honky Tonk, and Jake the Snake. But
I will say they've finally got me on those new LJNs. They're making a Hennig. Big problem.
Dude, that one is awesome. I got the Steve Austin one because I was looking for the Ultimate Warrior one, but a lot of those look so much better in person than they do like in the photo shoot,
Yes.
like the fucking
Why
prototype.
are they not? There's so many modern wrestlers that to me should be top of the LJN list because they're different than anyone they've like.
Dude, you called it
Asuka.
from the fucking jump. Rhea
I did.
Ripley should have
Yep.
been in the fucking first line, dude.
Yeah, I think all of the top women, honestly, because they're different to any LJNs, right? Like it'd be cool. Like it'd just be awesome. Yeah.
There is one woman LJN, and it's the fucking little petite Liz.
Yeah. Dude, imagine Bianca LJN.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Asuka, Lexi, all caps, Rhea. What would be Asuka's pose?
Meechin.
B-Fab.
Well, okay, so you have the precedent of Ted DiBiase had like the hand of cash, so Asuka could be holding her mask, you know, like that could be.
Yeah. And would you get
SGT Slaughter.
similar to the Matilda? Would you get a Lily doll similar to this? I don't know. Probably be smaller than this, maybe. I'm not sure, but SGT Slaughter is a good one.
The Punk one though is like 2011 Punk. It's not even modern
Phil?
Punk. Yeah. Well,
did you see what he was up to tonight?
what was he doing?
He was on Fight Pass, and he's at it again. I tell you.
boy.
He said, Bobby, what was his exact quote? You got his exact quote from me, Bobby? If you could pull it up, that'd be wonderful, because then I don't want to misquote them.
The one,
He's
I
prolific.
don't travel anymore, my horse is sick.
He's at it again.
My God.
The big man is back.
He is back.
We're taping a Criterion that could age really poorly very soon, you and I, Alex. You know that, right?
Yeah,
we have
yeah,
to
definitely.
reshoot the whole fucking thing.
Dude,
All
he's
right.
gonna be number 1 in the Rumble and fucking Jake Perry number 2.
Jake Perry.
There's no more insulting Alex bit than when he just changes someone's name just because, like Cole Fletcher, Jake Perry.
Carl Fletcher's the most. That's the most like.
Yeah, no reason for it, really.
Biggest fuck you,
Yeah.
Dude, before we move on from this action figure talk, because I'm mad, did you see they unveiled who the next LJN's going to be? Pat McAfee.
Oh, come on.
No.
Dude. Yeah. It's
Again, Oscar.
They I don't know what their deal is, because the first line was Logan Paul, and then fucking the fat skinny guy Jelly Roll, and then now Pat McAfee, and like it's
Dude.
just
Look, also, I know you're not a big fan, but even Liv would be a cool LJN,
Yeah. She has fans.
Oh.
Trouble. That's me.
She's wrestling tomorrow, right?
She is. She's in the Queen of the Ring final.
Is she going to wrestle? I guess, her and Lowe have been fitted for their garbage bags they're going to be wrestling in.
Lowe?
Is that who she's wrestling?
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely her name. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Who am I to pull you up on that? My bad. Yeah.
Oh, man. I had that one go like way out of control earlier with Thekla or whatever. And
oh, jeez.
people
what did
are
you say now?
She has an awesome T-shirt. And all I said was, I don't know who this is, but this T-shirt's awesome. And people were mad about it and trying to explain wrestling merchandise to me. It was just like, dude, fuck off.
But you liked it.
Yeah, it's fucking sick, dude.
So what were they mad about?
I don't know. Wrestling fans. Some guy said that like he said, what did he say? He said you're afraid the other team's gonna find out you're watching the better product, and I was like, what is wrong with these people, man? Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it was a takeoff of a G.G. Allen album cover, and I thought it was fucking sick. So good play to them, because historically, what I have seen is AEW does not produce good merchandise.
No, that's a cool shirt.
Yeah.
That's a cool shirt. I saw that Gigi Dolan had previously. I kind of felt bad for her because she'd like also taken the style previously for pros and tees, and now it now looks like she's copied Tekla. She did not, but it's just
Well, I guess I would say I've seen Gigi Dolan wrestle, and I don't want to buy anything she has, and I have not seen this other. Yeah.
I'm watching MLW lately. I see.
I saw her wrestle Megan Bane.
Boone.
Yeah. Some GCW show, and it was not good. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, tried our best. So we've got a lot of talk.
So Owen Hart.
We know what the number one is, don't we? I mean, it was obvious. This was a chance to talk about Owen Hart's work. His most celebrated match. It won by a landslide. It's WrestleMania 10. It's one of the greatest openers in the history of pro wrestling. It's one of the most. I'm not big on like try to explain wrestling to someone who doesn't like wrestling. Like, just leave them alone, please. They don't need this in their life. But if you want to, try to pick a match. If you have to, at gunpoint, find a match that captures storytelling. This actually does tell a story in what beyond just like, oh bloody hell, his arm hurts. You know what I mean? Like this actually is dense and rich in the story being told in Big Brother versus Little Brother. Bret wants to wrestle. Owen is there to make a point and to show off. Bret is reluctant. Bret gets pissed off, and ultimately, in a really big surprise at the time, Owen gets an upset win, which we have to stress. That was like a big deal that he won this match. Yeah. Huge for him. And honestly, his career stood on that platform for the rest of time. It's one of the all-time great matches, Oracle. What is there left to say about it, really?
Not much. The victory roll finish is legitimately maybe my all-time favorite. Like, that's like amazing. Yep. Just like shocking, stunning. I love the way they played it up on the broadcast. Just the story of the night where Bret, the story of the match, it's just brother versus brother, and someone who is the youngest brother of four brothers. That's like a match that is like definitely gonna. It's like, oh fuck yeah, 1-1, fuck them bastards, yeah. So like, and they tell the story brilliantly of Owen just finding ways to kind of basically get at Bret and nag at Bret, and just like finding a way to withstand all the Bret stuff, and they and they weave the brother thing so brilliantly in that match. One of the better stories
Beautiful.
they've ever told in the ring too. Just exceptional stuff.
Yep.
And then in the overall arc of the story with Bret losing and then winning the belt at the end of the show, and Owen, what doesn't it end with Owen looking at him down the down the aisleway, and just a really brilliantly bookended show from that standpoint as well.
I think he's mouthing "It should be me," like looking at Bret in the ring with the title. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, poor Alex's ages. That was Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, this is an actual example of telling a story with pro wrestling. Like, not telling the story with stopping the wrestling to talk. Like, they actually tell it with the moves and such. Imagine these two things can coexist. I never knew such a thing was possible. Also, an all-time great, like, Vince is not human story when Bruce pitched this and he said, quote, "Brothers don't fight."
Yeah.
Just the brain on him and just, wow. Bobby, what a match, right? What did Dave say? What do you say?
Dave said the Hart vs. Hart match with Owen scoring the clean surprise win to elevate him to the upper echelon appeared when it was over to be a strong match of the year candidate. Was a tad better than the legendary Ricky Steamboat Randy Savage WrestleMania 3 match because of a stronger finish and every bit is good work. Well, Owen beating Bret was a surprise. The idea he was going to do a clean in the middle was almost unfathomable, but it was also obvious that Bret was ending the show with the title belt. Although the win solidly elevated Owen to the top of the ladder on the heel side, his post-match interview showed that he's badly in need of a manager to effectively stay in that spot for any length of time. 4 3/4.
Cornette must have said, "Dave, I'm working on something." For so, I can get a line in there. I mean, I do love the Camp Cornette act. I think Camp Cornette's a really fun thing. So
Yeah.
fine, yeah. Anything you want to add yourself, Bobby?
I mean, I think that's all accurate. It's the best Mania match up to that point. It's still one of the best of all time. It gets passed, obviously, by Bret and Austin, and then a couple more. But yeah, it's up there. It's probably the best opener, up there with Bryan and Triple H. And yeah, really kind of just the ultimate Owen match.
All the WrestleMania openers. Jay and Gunther, Bliss Cross Kabukis. Alex, thoughts on this one? Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to gloss over Bob's blatant disrespect towards Randy Savage and Jim Hellwig on that best Mania match up until that point. But anyway, I digress. I remember renting this tape as a kid, and when you do that, you don't really know. If you haven't been watching the TV week to week, you don't really know what happens. I just remember watching this and like, what? And I've every time if you watch the match, there's a guy. The way the angle is of Owen winning, there's a guy like fucking 15 rows behind the corner who like appears to jump 20 feet in the air when Owen wins. Like he's so excited, he's so elated by it. Yeah, to your point, it makes sense that it's as good as it is, just based on the story and what both these guys wanted to accomplish, and of course, because Bret knows it's his crowning night, so he wants everything to be fucking perfect because he was very neurotic and obsessive that way, and something I can relate to. And and there's also the precedent of him using the victory roll to win big matches with like Bam Bam at King of the Ring, and he doesn't do fucking Gargano NXT thing when he loses. He just kind of is like, motherfucker. Like, he's just so frustrated, like, when he sits up. And it's, the opening stretch in particular is just lovely of Owen out wrestling Bret, albeit with maybe some underhanded means, a little pull of the hair, a little kick to the face, that type of shit. But he gets the upper hand and frustrates Bret. This match is wonderful. It's, personally, I don't know if I would say this is the best match involving Owen Hart, but it's like this was his crowning achievement in terms of storytelling, kayfabe, whatever you want to say, as far as a platform, a victory he had. And yeah, the show ends and it forecasts what the main event of the second biggest show is going to be, or the co-main event, when he comes out and just looks at Bret and he's like, "Fuck you, man." And the way that he wears the glasses out and rips them up, you know, you think he's going to give them to a fan. Yeah, it's great stuff, man.
What would have been your vote for number one? Next would have been Canadian Stampede, probably.
Canadian Stampede, yeah. But I'm just realizing the Steiner's match didn't make this.
It did not. Yeah, I wanted to give a chance to call out some match. The Steiner's match, I would have made it. Yeah.
There's another singles match that I'm extremely high on. We might call it in a second, but it being fair to Owen's legacy, yeah, this has to be his number one. Yeah.
There's the Orient Express tag, which was just outside. The Steiner's match was just outside. I'm looking here. There was some love for the Shamrock stuff. That got some votes. Yeah, there was a handful of different things that came up. There was like 25 matches that got votes. So it was like, yeah. What was you gonna say, Alex?
Mine is the Vader match. That's probably my favorite Owen Hart match.
Didn't get one vote. Stunned me.
What?
I love that match. Yeah. Do you think people just haven't seen One Night Only?
I think that's a big part of it. And if they have, it's all fucking bad vibes because of the Shawn Michaels winning. Yeah. Which in reality, I think the Bret Taker match on that is probably oh, Mr. Heartbreak. I think in reality, like that is probably Bret and Taker's best singles match.
That match is awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
That show is cool, man. It's a really cool wrestling show. And between us as friends, Shawn and Davey fucking rocks.
It does. Mm-hmm. It's one of those like Shawn instances of like he's such a piece of shit. But he makes it work. Did it's Bret, Owen, and Davey against Taker, Dude Love, and Austin, the flag match? Did that get any votes?
It did not.
Oh, what a shame.
It's strange how often Davey's come up tonight having great matches. Strange.
What's Bob Holly and 1-2-3 Kid against Yoke and Owen?
There wasn't any love for the Yoko tags, dude. I was bummed out about that. I like the Yoko tags. No love for it. Very sad.
Shame.
Very, very sad. But
did the Edge match get any votes?
It did not. No, or the Eggs one.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, we said we were going to circle back. Don't have that much show. There's a lot of folklore around Owen. Alex, I'm going to pass to you. Any fun Owen Hart anecdotes that, as you've heard them through the years, have brought a smile to your face, my friend?
Oh, definitely. Like with Davey, the Cam Cornette stuff. The whole deal was, they give those guys water bottles to spray themselves to like make them look wet. I remember Cornette would talk about Owen would just keep spraying Davey until he was unbelievably saturated. That Singaporean show I was talking about, you can go to my Twitter because someone sent me the clip, but Owen just slaps Davey in the face on this like fucking Singapore talk show. Clearly in a moment of improv. There's all the stuff of like Earl Hebner, Bob's favorite ref. Like when they would be down in a rest hold or something, Owen would find a way to tie his shoe, like on house shows, tie his shoes together. So he got up and he would be tripping over himself. And when he was working Bret on house shows, I remember Bret talking about Owen would go out to the ring before the match and like hide a can of sardines under the ring, and then do this, and then grab like a fucking like real tight chin hold on Bret in the ring and shit like that. My favorite personal one was Gangrel. Was he just stole his watch? And I don't know if he threw it away or just like kept it for himself. But the story was that he like just took his watch, and Gangrel was David Heath. Was that his name? He was like losing his shit, and then Owen helped him look for it. Like that's how like intense it was. And the story was when they came back through on the next loop to that same arena, Owen was like, "Wasn't it here you lost your watch? Well, where was it you had it?" And helped him look for it again, like on the next loop. Which that's like elite fucking ribbing. Another one, Bret. I think Bret told this story in his Hall of Fame speech, but all the boys were checking into some hotel, and Jim Duggan called the front desk and was asking about where the gym was, and the guy kind of like put it, and he asked like, "Oh, it was Owen and Bret," and he's like, "Where's the gym?" And he's like, "Someone's asking," and then Owen goes, "Who's asking?" And he's like, "Hey, can I ask who this is?" He's like, "Jim Duggan." He's like, "Jim Duggan," and Owen's like, And he takes the phone and he's like, yeah, the gym's down the street, you fat piece of shit. Like, just talking. and the Jim's like, what? And he's like, I'm going to come down there. And the guy, and he said Owen handed the phone back to the clerk. And the clerk's like, well, what did I tell him? And he goes, just tell him it was me that did it. My name's Jim Powers. And then so he said at the next TV, like Duggan came in and had a big issue with Jim Powers. But, just shit like that. I remember on the tribute episode of Raw, Dustin Rhodes told some story about Owen completely tanking a Harley race chili. Like, it hit everyone over and he made a big pot of chili, and fucking Owen just dumped like a whole bottle of, I don't know, fucking ghost pepper sauce in it or whatever. And Harley went to try it, like, started like choking on it. Shit like that. It all, in the end, and especially with all the horror stories, the four of us and everyone listening to this have heard about wrestlers, it seemed like all of Owen's shit was like truly like harmless and just to kind of, keep his own sanity on the road type of thing. And that came across in his wrestling too.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of stories of he would on the house shows, the way he would sell would be very animated versus, he knew when he was on TV and stuff like that, and just seemed to have a good grip on the idea of, I have to make this fun, otherwise I will lose my mind with like the banality of it all. And so that's and to the point, from the era he came from, the ribs being harmless was that was not universal,
And I always think a really wonderful Owen Hart story is on Heenan's last night. He says that Owen approached him and was like, he asked him why he was leaving, and Bobby explained it, and he was like, you're going to be a huge loss for this place. Like, we were going to miss you a lot. And Heenan, you could tell by the way Bobby told it, like, dude, wrestling people don't do that kind of stuff. They just don't. Like, to this day, I don't think they do. And obviously now they're more, like, everyone's more sentimental now, I think, and more kind of willing to be emotional. But it still isn't commonplace, because the boys always have the mentality of, we'll see you down the road, right? Like, they don't want to do the big. And Owen approached him and like thanked him for what he did for the. And that was when Owen was like, he'd been there for a bit, but he wasn't like a top guy. So he sincerely wanted to, make it clear he knew that people would miss him. So yeah, very, very cool. I'm glad we could do this, fellas, and just talk about Owen Hart a little bit, and some other things, right? Davey Boy action figures, all that good stuff. All right, let's take it home. If you haven't liked the stream, please do. We're going to do some plugs getting out of here. Before I pitch to the lads, I want to again send my best wishes to Bobby's fan. Thank you for your service. I want to stress we had a Criterion upload yesterday that I fucked up 4 different parts of the release on, so check that out if you haven't already. It's about ECW. Very, very cool. Got an MJF cameo on there too that was from a previously recorded program, so that was in there. And I want to note that Grin Grappler is slightly delayed. It will probably... What was the date we said, guys? The 7th? Tuesday the 7th, and then we'll return to Thursday on July the 30th. So that's what we're looking at right now. Mark Henry is going to be pushed back a little bit to 7/7. Bobby, anything you want to promote, mate?
No, I don't think so. At the moment, Grin Grappler, July 7th. And then we're going to Japan for Tuesday Night Titans. I don't know when that's starting yet, but stay tuned for that.
Yeah, a couple weeks, yeah. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it, mate. Oracle, any plugs?
So just as you mentioned, Grin Grappler Mark Henry coming up here in the first week of July. I think I will probably join Donnie this weekend for part of our reviews of the shows.
Yes,
I'll probably do. I'll join him for the Night of Champions review. We'll do the typical. It should be an LNG production, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, weekend's best. Yeah.
So I'll be there for that. Got a little vacation in the middle of July, but I should be around for 1 or 2 more showings at least in the month of July.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Alex, tell the people what's happening to the Contrarians and anything else you would like to promote, mate.
We did just drop episode 3 in Wrestling's Criterion Collection covering ECW's Barely Legal. Hell of a show. Production value through the fucking roof with our boys Rice and Tope providing the editing and graphics. We are thecontrarians.com at Contrarian Prime across all social media. We are deeply ensconced in our summer journey from bedroom to box office. The attempts of folks from the pornographic industry to make their stake their claim, plant their flag in mainstream filmmaking. Most recently, The Running Man, the 1987 Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, dropped, and here before too long, the 1989 art house French film Romance, which we have a lot of fun with, will be dropping. And then, of course, Grin Grappler, Mark Henry coming up soon. I didn't get to have my huge Shawn Michaels rant that I wanted to add here, so we might put that as an addendum on the Mark Henry Grin Grappler.
Okay. Something to look forward to.
There you go. I can't tell you I'm going to be watching it all as far as the live content, but you should all be tuned into everything Late Night Grin is doing this weekend.
Appreciate it, brother. I do want to stress I will not be around this weekend. I'll not be around Monday. I'm recording some stuff on Tuesday with the boys. Alex and I are going to record another Criterion slate. We're doing the 2016 redraft on Tuesday too, which I'm amped for. That's going to be myself and Alex as Team SmackDown versus Bob and Shoot as Team Raw. Finally, Alex gets to be Shane McMahon just for one show. You can just pretend to be Shane fully.
Who sold 30,000 tickets to any show in the year of 2016? All right,
there you go, mate. There you go. We're on the same team, bro. I'm just saying. So that should be fun. Today, Rice sent me the graphics he's working on now. We have July and August. We have July is 10 years for Alexa Bliss. August is 10 years for Bayley. We're doing a double shot. Yeah. Are you comfortable with that? 10 years for both of them in the main roster?
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's a lot, right? So we're doing a double shot of those. We're also doing something about the Sasha and Charlotte. You know the 2016 series. We're doing something for that later this year too. So a bunch of 2016 stuff coming up.
On that, by the way.
Hmm?
Remind me about that.
Yes, we've got some months on that. That'll be probably like November, December.
Oh yeah, because that was a fall thing anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alexa's going to be... Bayley went up after Alexa, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Alexa will be a July thing. Bayley will be an August thing. So we'll work on those. Rice is working on those graphics now. Next Friday, the Grim will be a mid-year program of some sort. Mid-year chat show, probably with Donald and Buster. That's the plan. But the reality is, folks, I need to reset. We need to go back to the drawing board a little bit. We need to have a think. We need to consider what we're doing, what we're up to. It's always good to have these every once in a while just to reset, figure out what we need to be doing better and what we're doing well and all that good stuff. So stick with us, stay tuned. I know there's a million and one things going on. We appreciate those of you that choose to spend any time with us, let alone a Friday night in the midst of summer.
I was about to say, I hadn't been on since, so everyone who joined us for the fucking UFC 250 debacle, that was a hell of a time. I didn't get a chance to say thank you for everyone who joined us for that, so I just wanted to do that here on a public platform.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good stuff lately. You know, I think there was a little bit of a overexposure at times because we do so much, but we're gonna figure out our next step here for the second half of this year. Stick with us, much coming up. Have a wonderful evening, a great weekend. Keep grinning. All hell, enjoy this outro. Goodbye.